So, here we are talking about Green Book. This movie, let's look it up real quick. Because I actually don't know. I think it won Best Picture, but I don't know. For sure. In 2018, this movie came out. It takes place in 1962. It's a very serious drama about segregation and racism in general, but more particularly segregation. It follows an African-American musician called Donald Shirley, who is touring around the Deep South states with his driver, Tony Lip, who is sort of an ignorant, at the very least, maybe a little bit racist. But as time goes on, they develop an understanding and a friendship throughout the film. But yeah, it's just interesting to see how, and I don't know how realistic it is, but I mean, obviously, there's no such thing as time machines to our knowledge. So this is the closest thing we can get is pieces like this where they try to recreate the time. And I don't know how close it was, but it seemed like, from what I know, which is obviously not very much because I'm very young compared to this when this was set in 1962. I don't know how accurate it is, but it seems accurate to me. Green Book. And if people want to talk, if people have talked about this movie, if people have seen this and want to talk about it, please check out the Discord, !Discord, into the chat. And pop in there and I'll actually look and see if anyone's in there right now. Because you never really know. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. But I'm going to look it up on IMDb first. And I'm just going to see. Actually, let's look up and see if it won Best Picture. Best Picture winner? Did it win? Oh, Green Book, which received a total of 5 Oscar nominations, won 3, including Best Picture. I knew it. Okay, cool. Don Shirley took home the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor with his role, Dr. Shirley. Masharala, that's the actor's name, I think. I might have pronounced that wrong, and I'm so sorry if I did. But how are people doing? What's up? Reviewing Boobies. Welcome to the Reviewing Boobies segment. No, yeah, we're reviewing movies. Welcome, and I love you all. Thanks for shouting out Hibernation Raps. Yeah, please stick around. We're going to rate them after. I'm convinced. I remember convincing our biology teacher to let us watch Biodome as it would be educational. You actually watched Biodome as an educational experience? Because it really fails on all fronts, in my opinion. It fails on comedy, and it fails on comedy, and it fails on the science aspect as well. So I don't think it's very realistic. Yeah, that's right. New status. We're living it. We totally did. That's so awesome. Good job. That's got to take some convincing. I'm very impressed. But let's just look. If anyone wants to pop in the Discord, I'll put that in there right now. Has anyone seen this movie? And when we get to Biodome, you can come into the Discord for Biodome too. If you've only seen Biodome, but Discord, if you want to chat, there it is. About 15 minutes in, he was certain he was duped. Yeah, but once you're that far in, you gotta watch the whole thing, right? You're that deep into it. But anyway, back to Green Book. So, we found out it's won Best Picture, and now let's look it up on IMDb, shall we? Actually, I'm gonna see if I can find the box office, because I've been leaving that out because Wikipedia just doesn't work on this computer for some reason now. I don't know why. I should probably try to figure it out. In fact, I tried to figure it out, but I couldn't. I should try harder though. Anyway, box office. Let's see if it says. So it made a lot. That makes sense. 328.8 million. That's really good. I don't know what the budget was. Let's look up the budget. Budget compared to that over $300 million gross. Let's see. Budget. Only 23 million. That's pretty good. That's a very good return. So they nailed it. Obviously, they won Best Picture though, so that makes sense. It makes sense. So yeah. Oh, my nose is itchy there, but damn diddy. Okay, let's keep on going here with the review. So, Green Book. Let's talk about why the movie's called Green Book. There is a book, and in this, obviously, I don't think this book exists anymore, but in the 60s, they needed a book, a sort of guide to explain which restaurants and establishments, hotels allow minorities, African American people, and which do not. Because in the 60s, obviously, there was segregation, and, you know, and I think on the book it said something like vacation without aggravation. And yeah, so let's talk about the characters a bit. So Dr. Sure, and I don't want to go too deep into it, especially since we'll be rating Hibernation and watching this film in a bit. But I'll just, I'll talk about the basic premise and, just my general thoughts. But yeah, so Tony Lip, it starts off, he's this, like I said, sort of ignorant. There's certain scenes, and I don't want to ruin anything, so I don't want to even say the exacts of it, but obviously he's a little bit narrow-minded and racist towards African Americans. But he works at the Copacabana. He's established as a good bouncer. He can beat the shit out of people. But the Copacabana, which is a real club, I believe, and also this is based on a true story. It's inspired by a true story, but at the end it shows like the real people and stuff. So I wonder how real it is. And, it really, like, what's the definition of based on a true story and inspired by a true story? Are they both interchangeable, or like is one more realistic to the facts than the other one? I've always wondered about that. But anyway, I think it says this was inspired by a true story. But at the end, it seems like a lot of it might have been real. But who knows how much, right? Anyway, this was a fun movie though. Join the booty Discord. Yes, that's right. All right, I sent that in. But yeah, thanks for watching, folks. So like I said, he's looking for work. The Copacabana closes for a little bit. Tony Lip, this Italian bouncer, and he needs some work. So his boss phones him and he's like, hey, we heard this doctor needs a driver. That's all they tell him. And he goes to, I think it's Carnegie Hall or some concert hall anyway. And he's like, wait, what is this? I was told there's a doctor. I'm supposed to be a driver for a doctor. Get interviewed to be a driver for a doctor. Where's this doctor's office? And he's like, oh, Mr. Shirley or Dr. Shirley lives upstairs. And he's like, he's confused because it's in a concert hall. He thought it would be in a doctor's office. But he goes up and he gets interviewed. And right away we see into Tony Lip's character about how he uses racial slurs and stuff. But he also makes some good points. Like saying that you're going to the Deep South to Dr. Shirley to do this tour after he's explained it. And so you better pay me what I want, because he knows it's going to be a tough job and he's going to have to deal with trouble because of Dr. Shirley being an African American and the racism in the Deep South. It was that apparent. And that all makes sense. But, I gotta say that, like, I don't know how realistic it was, like I already said, but it was, like, it was entertaining whether or not it was realistic. And good dialogue. It might have ran a little bit long. There might have been a few too many scenes. Like, there's a lot of scenes where it's like, okay, I get it. Dr. Shirley's going in and he's going to be scolded for being an African American basically and has to leave the establishment. But this happens like in a few different establishments, and I feel like they could have cut like at least one or two out of those. We still get the idea. This movie's like 2 hours. Not every movie needs to be 2 hours. It's not a bad movie, and obviously it's a good message, but the message is coming through heavy, as intended, I think. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Obviously it's a good message. But you maybe could have lost one or two of those scenes. But some of them were absolutely necessary, of course. and it was never boring, to be fair. It's always fun. Well, not fun, but interesting. This isn't a fun movie. It's very serious drama about race. But yeah, no, I can't say I didn't like it. There's a sort of funny scene, another one that sort of shows Tony's ignorance, where they're in Kentucky for this tour, because Tony's driving him through the Deep South, like I've already explained. But they stop at Kentucky Fried Chicken in Kentucky, because he's like, oh, you gotta stop at Kentucky Fried Chicken in Kentucky. And he says, I bought the bucket for you. Here, Dr. Shirley, have some of the bucket. He's like, I've never tried fried chicken. I don't want to eat it. I'm going to get my hands messy and get it all over. And then he says something racist like, oh, your people love fried chicken or something like that. And then he's like, oh, gives him the look. It's not good. But eventually he tries fried chicken and he eats. And I like this scene because it's kind of funny because, everyone likes fried chicken. It's delicious, and I've always thought that was a stupid stereotype because it's like, okay, yeah, sure, black people like fried chicken, white people like fried chicken. Everyone likes, I haven't heard of one person, except for vegans, I guess, that don't like fried chicken. And even then, if you gave them, like, fried chicken substitute, they'd probably like it too. But anyway, that was just a mini rant about how fried chicken is really good. Probably one of my favorite foods, if not my favorite food. But anyway, that's another reason why I maybe like that scene. But yeah, this movie's kind of fun. I don't want to give away too much more. I think I might start to end it. But I do want to mention that I didn't even know that this won Oscar when I won it. But watching it, I was like, this feels like Oscar bait. Like, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just the Academy has very specific things that they want, and this is exactly the kind of serious, hard-hitting drama that they would love, and so I was like, it seems like a little bit pandering, just a little bit, but at the same time, it's an important message, and I get it, just to the Academy, like, it's an important, you know what I mean, it's an important message, and, I just don't think the Academy Awards are good. I think that everyone should just vote. That makes more sense. It should be like democracy. Everyone should be allowed to vote for the best movie. I guess those are the People's Choice Awards, but no one takes those as seriously. Anyway, I'm going off on a mini rant. But that's the point of this show. We just sort of go for it. And yeah, no one's in the Discord. That's okay. I just wanted to make sure again that I didn't miss that. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end it. Thanks for watching, or at least end this. Boom, end this review, because like I said, we're gonna go raid Hibernation Raps after this. I'm gonna shout out Hibernation Raps. Follow Hibernation Raps if you haven't yet, and yeah, we're gonna go raid them after this and watch Green Book, which is cool. If you haven't seen it, you should come watch it. It's definitely worth a watch. I would say it's a pretty well made film all around. I'm gonna give it a decent rating. Here we go. I had very minor nitpicks about it. It's a well-made film. I definitely like this more than Biodome, and we'll get into Biodome here very shortly. And if you watched Biodome and you want to talk about it, please pop into the Discord again. Here, !Discord into the chat if you want to talk about Biodome. Coming up right away here. But yeah, well, let's put on a beat. I'm gonna put on this beat from Patrick Swankins. It's the Swaggin' on Chips instrumental. But yeah, what am I gonna give this? I'm feeling, I liked it. I think this is fair. This is weird, but I'm going with it. This feels right. This is a sort of a weird rating. But I'm feeling it. Okay, Green Book. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it's pretty close. It's pretty good, but it's it's just not for everybody. Maybe not in the mood for something super serious like that. But 7.8 out of 10. I think that's fair. It's a good film. We're gonna check it out again later on Hibernation Raps. Come check out. Stay around. We're gonna raid Hibernation Raps after the stream in like 2 hours or so. Woo! 7.8 out of 10 Dougs for Green Book.